Well, we're here at the Bridge City Center for Youth. This is a facility that I've been outside of many times. That's because we've reported so much about the violence that's going on inside. But this time is different. The head of the Office of Juvenile Justice has agreed to give us a tour, so we're going in for the first time. Lead the way?
All right. Okay. We wanted the kids to kind of give y'all an idea of what's what, where the different buildings are, and kind of a little bit about the facility.
Dr. James Bush is the Deputy Secretary of the Office of Juvenile Justice. The OJJ is responsible for 4 youth facilities around the state that house offenders 13 to 21 years old.
When you fixing to go?
My 21st birthday.
89 youth offenders are housed here at the Bridge City Center for Youth.
80% of the kids that are on this campus are here for violent behavior. Violent activity, violent crimes. So as they come into the facility, they already have a life that is historically violent.
While serving juvenile time at Bridge City, several youth offenders have been hauled off in handcuffs to the adult jail to face adult charges. Police say the teens committed violent crimes that included rape, escape, and battery while inside the youth facility. In one case of battery, a source tells Fox 8 a security guard suffered severe head injuries when she was beat with a sock filled with rocks.
We try to target programs, we try to target services to that small fraction of kids real intensively to try to get them out of that type of behavior. But it's a mentality that they come into the facility with.
This is the way you come back to the dorm? The first stop on our tour is the Pride Dormitory. It's one of 8 dormitories at the Bridge City facility.
Like, this is how a standard dorm is set up. This is the day area where we check in, we say how we feel every day, we talk about any problems or concerns. This is where the staff address us and give us our rehabilitation every day.
2 of the youth offenders who only want to go by their first names, 18-year-olds Donald and Nolan, show us around.
This is just where we go through the rest of the day, sleep, and hang out.
Inside the facility, the youth offenders are not handcuffed or shackled. They wear uniform shirts and shorts. There are about 12 in each dorm. We're told when a new offender arrives to Bridge City, they're assessed and placed in the dorm believed to be the best fit for them.
And if we also have a problem, we'll circle up like amongst each other. We'll circle up together so we can focus on how the situation can come to a conclusion, or how to focus on getting the situation before it goes blowing out of proportion.
Everybody has it up front, you know, what they need to be doing.
Dr. Bush shows us a program used at Bridge City called LAMAD. It's basically a set of rules the teens are expected to live by.
Our statement is for the check-in is facilitating the check-in, no sleeping, no slouching, no sidebar conversations, respect the speaker. And then we either leave for school and the line expectations are shirt tucked in, pants pulled up, keep the line tight.
The dorm group is expected to stay together at all times as they transition from one area of the facility to another. 2 security guards should always supervise the group. Dr. Bush says most violent incidents at Bridge City unfold while the youth offenders are in transition.
That's why we try to staff as much as we can. As we move kids from the school or to dining hall, we also try to have supervisors be part of that process to kind of monitor and make sure that if anything does happen, they can respond quickly.
Why do you think they're happening in transition?
A lot of times the kids come from the community with issues. Sometimes they may have issues with other kids that happen here at the facility.
Cameras are located throughout the facility, but they are not in places where Dr. Bush says most of the violence is happening. I wanted to ask you about the cameras that you guys do use for evidence when incidents happen. There aren't any cameras out here.
Yeah, we've looked at putting cameras outside. It's just so cost prohibitive with the facility and the age of the facility and the size.
Dr. Bush believes the youth offenders know exactly where the cameras are placed and how many of them are actually working.
There's so much stuff that happens with us as far as being taken away from our families, us not having families before we came in here, everyone's situation is different. You get the same thing, it's on a repeating schedule for every 2 months.
Dr. Bush says Donald hasn't caused any trouble at the Bridge City facility, but he, like Nolan, has witnessed the violence.
A small situation can occur. You already mad, you haven't so-and-so, whatever the situation is, you're mad and something happens to someone else and like, oh, you want to do this? And it's a spur of the moment because they're both down, you both are hurt and you're both not in the right mindset and you just act out of impulse.
We've changed policy, we've updated a lot of the forms.
Dr. Bush says 50% of the youth offenders have been diagnosed with a mental health disorder.
A lot of times, if they're off their medication or they're trying to get them on the right type of medication, it's difficult to have a conversation or a ration with, or to have to be able to understand exactly what's going on.
During some of the recent incidents, security guards were seriously hurt, and it was their injuries that prompted the arrest of the youth offenders.
Or if our staff are assaulted, they have every right, just like anybody on the street that gets assaulted, to press charges and to have those criminal incidents investigated.
If a gang-like activity go on and an officer get called to assist and he get hit or she get hit, I feel as though it was in the midst of a big fight going on. So
in May, a security guard was terminated after being accused of choking one of the offenders. July 6th, on the day we toured the facility, police say an 18-year-old offender raped a 15-year-old in the bathroom of the recreational area. According to a recent legislative audit, fights per youth at Bridge City increased 121% over the last 5 years. While the youth offenders' high-risk behavior certainly contribute to the number of violent incidents, the audit identified plenty of other issues at Bridge City that involve staffing, training, and a facility that is 84 years old.
It's a cycle of how do you get ahead of it when you're continually having to deal with the maintenance issues, the turnover issues, the workers' comp, staff shortages, kids that have certain behaviors, certain mental health issues. It's just a challenge every day to keep the facility safe and keep the kids moving in the right direction.
Natasha Robin, Fox 8 News.